Hola, ¿qué tal? Bueno, bienvenidos nuevamente al track de HTML y Mobile Web. Vamos a continuar con la plática de LePage, extensiones de Chrome, aplicaciones y Chrome Web Store, haciendo dinero en la web. Esta probablemente debería tener mucho más interés. En esta plática, Pete nos va a mostrar cómo aumentar la base de usuarios de nuestra aplicación con muy poco esfuerzo. Damos la bienvenida.
Sweet. Thanks. I just want to say thank you to you guys. You guys have been some of the friendliest and nicest folks that I've dealt with at a conference. Everybody who's come up and asked a question of me has said, I'm sorry, my accent or my English is very bad. You guys should not be apologizing. It's me who doesn't speak Spanish, so I apologize to you. And thank you guys for just being so good. So thank you. So I'm going to talk about Chrome extensions as well as building web applications for the Chrome Web Store. This talk covers a lot of stuff, and as I was going through it earlier, I kind of realized that there's too much to cover. So I'm going to move through the extension component rather quickly. But I'm going to hang out outside afterwards, so if you want to come talk about extensions, I'm more than happy to. I also wanted to leave the slides there and available so that you guys can look at them online later and see what I was talking about and follow along. So we're going to talk about Chrome extensions, the different types. We're going to skip the demo, and then we're going to jump into web applications and what it means to be a web application. Some of the early web applications, like, from the mid-90s and early 2000s, to modern web applications that you use today. How to think about them, and then how you can take advantage of the Chrome Web Store to really get your application into the hands of a lot of people, that 160 million users that I talked about earlier. So let's just jump into Chrome extensions. And then a way that you can really improve your experience, you can get notifications, you can be more productive in your daily life. How many people have installed extensions in their browser? Yeah, pretty much everybody, right? Like there's lots of different stuff you can do. But they're written using the technologies that you already know. If you know how to write a web page using HTML, JavaScript, CSS, you can go ahead and very easily write them. So with them, there's a bunch of APIs that we have access to. You can modify people's bookmarks and go in and look at the bookmarks. You can go through and add a context menu so that when somebody right-clicks on something, you might want to maybe create a bookmark or maybe send that information up to a server. You can look through the history. You can do internationalization stuff so that you can translate this slide deck to Spanish very easily without having to do very much work. You can change the proxy, right? Maybe at work you have one set of proxies and at home you don't have a set of proxies, so you want to have an easy way to switch between the two. You can do things like open new tabs or change tabs. You can even, and I think this one's super cool, you can grab screenshots of existing tabs. So you can say, hey, I want to grab a screenshot of this tab, and it'll go and grab a screenshot of it, and you can do some really interesting things with that. You can pop that into a canvas element and do some stuff like that. And Windows, so same concept as tabs. When you start thinking about what you want to do with an extension, there's a couple of options that you have. There's a browser extension, and that lives outside of the address bar, right? So it lives out there. You use that for something that would affect probably every page. Versus a page action that would only be used on specific pages. Think something like an RSS reader. Would go check to see if there's an RSS feed on a page. If there is, you might want to show a specific icon. Or maybe the page has a telephone number that you want to be able to click on. So Page actions are specifically for pages versus browser actions. They can all have pop-ups. So you can have a little window open up so that you can see what's going on with particular information. You can have notifications. Hey, I want to go tell the user maybe that there's something that they want to know about. Context menus, I mentioned that one earlier, so that you can go, right-click on something, and all you need to do, you can see here, just ask for the permission of context menu. And then in the JavaScript for your page, you register what that context menu is. You can even get access to the Omnibox, right? So where you're typing in an address, you can put shortcuts so that if you want to quickly make it easy for somebody to go search for things, you can do that using whatever search engine you want or whatever tools you want to go use. And then finally, content scripts. Content scripts are really probably the most powerful thing because they allow you to go and insert JavaScript into a web page, into somebody else's web page for that matter, and modify the page. So you could do things like, hey, I want to go through and look for instances of my name, and I want to change it and bold those, right, so that I can find them more easily. So that's just sort of a simple example, but you get an idea of some of the things. There's a couple of components to an extension. One is the background page, and that's the code that runs and is sort of that's the heart and soul of your extension. It's the code where everything lives. The pop-up may or may not be there if you've got a pop-up showing, and then the JavaScript. All of that stuff fits into the manifest file. You zip those up into a single zip file, and that's an extension. Like, it's really that simple. I'm not going to go do it, but I'll show you the code. So here's the code for my first extension example, right? So my first extension version, you've got a description. It's a browser action, so it lives outside the address bar. You set an icon, and I've got a pop-up window. And then I have to set a set of permissions. Those are the APIs that this extension is allowed to go use. If you don't do those, you actually can run into some security things. And that way, people can't go hijack your extension. The pop-up HTML, a little bit of style, right? You make a script block, so we go make a request. And what this does is it goes up, it calls the Flickr API and says, hey, give me all the photos that are tagged with, do I have it there? I don't have it there. But give me all the photos tagged with Hello World or tagged with Mexico City or Esto es Google, right? So you can go grab those, and then we just go and add them to the page here in Show Photos. Then, like I said, zip them, you're done. That's it. It is really, honestly, that simple. I've got a working example. I'm happy to show you guys if you want to come out and chat with me later. There's the link to all the documentation. It's a pretty neat and very powerful thing. What really gets me much more excited than extensions, though, is web applications, right? Because web applications are the things that we write every day that often make us money, right? How many people in here make money building web stuff, right? Yeah, pretty much everybody. At some point, we got to get paid for these kinds of things. So building great web apps that have a great experience, more people use, and the more people who use them, the more money we potentially can make. So when we think about like early web apps, 1997, Hotmail was really like the first true web application. Right? Think about it. It was a mail app. You could go and look at your mail. You could click on things. You could reply to messages. You had a really great, at the time, experience for mail. But it's not very pretty. In fact, it's kind of ugly, right? Compared to the desktop applications at the time that were really rich and powerful. But everything was on your computer. Even today, desktop applications, everything's on your computer. Which means that the power of the cloud, but no desktop richness, were the old school desktop apps. So we moved to 2005, and what happened in 2005? We had Web 2.0, right? I'm not sure what we're calling whatever this phase of the web is. Hopefully it's not Web 5.0, but like Web 2.0, where applications actually started getting more interactive. Slightly more graphical, but not a lot. More interactive, much more interesting. And now today, with HTML5, we've got so many more options available to us, right? We've got the power of the cloud, so you can store all your data in the cloud, whether that's your email, whether that's your documents, no matter what you want. You can put it up in the cloud and have access to it no matter where you go. But you also have all of the desktop richness, right? Think of all the cool stuff you can do with CSS3, with really rich graphics. As the people's bandwidth has gotten bigger, we can send more graphics down. So we end up with modern web applications. So as we start thinking about those modern web applications, we start seeing stuff that pops up like this. This is a web application. This is a website. You could go to this today. Go to SpringPad. Right? Doesn't look at all like a web application. The only thing that I did to change this app was I cut off the top, the address bar. Notice there's no links across the top. There's no navigation down the side. It doesn't say about, contact us, investor relations, like all that crappy stuff that you find on the bottom of most websites. This is a application. This is what you think of when you install something on your phone, on your laptop, on your desktop, whatever you're using. This is an application. So to build a really great web application, one of the really important things is to make sure it's got a really tight focus. What you're trying to achieve is really at the core, the center of the application. And it encourages people to really get at and use it, right? They're not coming like Wikipedia and they're going to just sort of flip through a bunch of pages and find out 4 hours later that, you know, they just wasted 4 hours on Wikipedia, which is fun, but it's not very interactive. Oops, gave away this one. This is my favorite recipe app. Can I get that to work? No. So this is my favorite new recipe app, Gojee. Gojee. Beautiful. Like, look at how big that picture is. Like, that's the full-size picture. You know, if you like beef, you look at this website and you're like, oh, I want that salad. I want that salad now because it looks good, right? You go through all of the pictures on their website. They're all beautiful. You want to sit there and eat that stuff. You want to cook it. You want to really engage with it because it's beautiful, right? So they are using all sorts of really neat things. They're using transparency, right, so that you can see through these different parts. They're using big, beautiful graphics that really get you to engage with the application. They delight the eye, but they don't distract you. It's a really important thing. They delight you, but don't distract you. One of the other really important things is use real visuals, right? Like, if you can use sort of an image of a phone, go for it. If you're building a phone-type app, right? Use things that really evoke the feelings of what you're trying to accomplish with your users to do that. Finally, this is the third one. And this app still floors me. I look at this. This is something called 280 Slides. 280 Slides. It looks like PowerPoint or Keynote or whatever. It's a web application. You can go build a perfectly good slide deck in this thing, and it'll build a really great slide deck. But it's building great user experiences, taking all the features of HTML5 and all the stuff that you've got at your fingers and using those to make sure that you've got a great user experience. Users can move files around easily. They can type stuff in or even talk to the application. So you've got a really great, fantastic user experience that you can go very easily and very well. All right. So you've got a great web app. So now what? How many of you have a great web app? How many of you guys have built something that you think is kind of cool and you're trying to either make some money on or maybe your employer is trying to make some money on? And all right, so a few folks. How many of you would like to do it in your spare time? All right, yeah. So once you've got your web app, maybe it's not done, maybe you've got a V1 done. So how do we actually go use the Chrome Web Store? Well, for users, right, folks like my mom, folks like, my brother, my sister, family members, if they want to find an application, it's kind of hard, right? They can go up to Google and they can search for an application, right? They might go search for recipe app. And if they go search for recipe app, in fact, let's try it for a sec. Okay, we'll go Google. I think that's how you spell recipe. No, it's not, but. All right, so I've got a ton of recipe apps here, right? Let's see, we've got 335 million results. Okay, probably not very helpful to me. Try allrecipe.com. Doesn't feel very happy. I don't know, does that fresh tomato shrimp pasta look very appealing to you guys? Like, I don't feel a real love for it. Okay, find the perfect. That looks more like an ad to me. So for users, finding great applications, the stuff that they want to use, is difficult. For us, we want to go build applications, right? You want to go and just write the application and get lots of users and have lots of users go use it. Because the more users who use it, maybe the more ads you're selling, or if you're selling the app, the more money you're going to get. So we want to build our app, get our users, listen to our users, make it better, and keep that loop going, right? Because that's kind of fun. Here's what we usually do. Well, we build our app. Then you got to go talk to some press. Then you got to do some ads. Well, you try and get on TechCrunch because, TechCrunch is kind of the cool kids' place. Well, then you got to go get people on blogs to go review your app, right? Like, scour for reviews, search engine optimizer. Like, it's a pain in the butt. I've seen so many great web applications that just aren't successful because nobody finds them, right? We saw that. I went and searched for Goji. Didn't even show up in the top, at least page, and I've gone looking for them to see, and it was like 5 or 6 pages before I even got anywhere near them. And when I did get near them, it wasn't them. It was a link for a review to them. So they kind of did this, right? But this sucks. This is not fun. So that's what the Chrome Web Store is all about. The Chrome Web Store is really about making it easy for users to discover your app, right? So that they can go find it. They can just go click on a place, say, I want this, and they got it. And for us, it makes it really easy for us to get our stuff into users' hands. They see the new tab page with the apps and with the Chrome Web Store icon every time they open a new tab. This is a screenshot of the Chrome Web Store. And you can see, over here on the left, we've got all the different types of apps. So if you want to just go browse for applications, you can find them really easily. Extensions and themes are also in there. The new and noteworthy. So you can see, hey, what's cool? What's interesting? What are people installing? Things like Angry Birds are in there, right? And so it makes it really easy to find the stuff you're looking for. You can even go in and search. All right. But how the heck do we get in there? Because that's much more interesting. There's a lot of monetization models, all right? There's a one-time $5 developer fee. So if you want to put your app in the Chrome Web Store, we're going to charge you $5 once. And the reason we do that, $5 US, is to prevent people from just spamming and putting all kinds of crazy crap in there. So we ask for a $5 fee. All right? Hopefully that's not too big of a deal. Once you've put it in, you're good to go. You don't have to pay for every app. There's no review or approval process. Unlike other application stores where, you upload your app and you kind of wait, and maybe it gets approved or maybe it doesn't, but you don't really know, and you don't know why it didn't get approved. Or maybe they give you a vague reason, and they're like, oh, meh. No. Once you hit publish, your app is up within about 5 minutes. It may be a couple hours sometimes if it takes a little while to propagate across all the servers around the world. But there's no review or approval process. You can use whatever advertising model you want. You want to use Google Ads? Go for it. Yay, happy. I like that. You want to use somebody else's ad models? Go for it. Nobody's going to stop you. You can use whatever you want. And there's no restrictions on the platform. You want to go build something in Flash? Have at it. You're a little crazy, I think. But, you can do it. Right? You can use whatever platform and build your application however you want. As long as it's a web application and you can get to it from the web, it'll work in the Chrome Web Store. We've had some really great success. The World Golf Tour put an app in. People spend 23% more time playing the game if they've installed it through the Chrome Web Store than those who just come to the website via URLs. And they spend 147% more money. How would you like 147% more money? I don't know about you, but I'd be kind of happy with that, right? Like, you get users who are really dedicated. They're installing the app, they're committed to that application, and they see it every time they open their page. SpringPad, we saw them earlier, right? 100% more engagement from their users, right? People spend 100% more time. They spent double the amount of time in SpringPad than they did otherwise. All right, so how do we do it? So first things first. This might look a little familiar, right? We need to create a manifest. You can do this by hand. It's a JSON file, or there are some tools out there available. I'm going to walk you through doing it by hand because I think it's a pretty easy thing to do by hand. It's not terribly difficult. So you need to say app, and you need to say launch, and you provide 2 URLs. The first URL, which is URLs, is where the app is going to live. So that way Chrome knows whether the user's running the app or not. All right? The second one is the launch URL, the web URL that you see there. So I basically created the Chrome Web Store as its own app. A little bit meta, but you kind of get it. If your application requires the user to log in, really important thing here. The web URL that you want to use is the URL inside of your application that if I'm not logged in, I'm going to get bounced out to the login page, and I'm going to have to log in and go into the app. Right? If you don't have to log in, take them directly into the application. Whatever you do, please, 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 do not put the landing page as that URL. Because if I've already installed the app, I want to start using it as soon as I click the icon. I don't want to have to go and, where's login? Right? I want to start using it as right off the bat. So make sure in web URL, you're putting it into the right place. The second piece, or the other one, is container, and that's a tab. You could do tab, you could do window, or the third option is panel. Generally, I recommend tab, because that's what most people want to open their applications in. So a tab just opens a new tab. Window opens a new window. You might tick some people off. I know I would probably uninstall your app if you opened a new window and I didn't want you to. And a panel just opens a little, basically, window without an address bar or anything like that. Then you need to ask for permissions. So permissions, you can ask for things like offline capabilities, where you can get lots and lots of storage if you want to store data on the user's computer. You can ask for geolocation, notifications, all kinds of things that make your application step outside of the box. We set 2 icons, and then we need a name, a description, and a version number. I'd recommend for version number, make sure you use like 1.0 or like 0.9 or use something reasonably like high. Don't go 0.0.0.1. You laugh. There are a lot of apps on the store that use that. The reason for that, if you come across an app and you look at the version number and you see version 0.0.0.1, do you trust it to be a good application? Right? If I'm trying to think of the name of a company. If Adobe launched a new product and called it Adobe something CS 0.0.0.1, would you use it? Probably not, right? So make sure you've got a reasonable version number. Every time you update your app in the Chrome Web Store, you're going to need to increment that number. So I would recommend like 0.9, then you can go to 0.91, 0.92, that kind of thing. So the next thing you need to do, once you've written your manifest file, which is just a simple JSON text file, is create some images. You need the 2 icons. So you need a 16 by 16 pixel. Nice and little, right? Then you also need a 128 by 128 pixel. That guy, there's the 128 by 128 pixel. So it shows up on the new tab page, so you can see all the apps that I've installed. So you want to have a nice 128 by 128 pixel image. And then you want a couple of screenshots. You want to show off what your app is like, right? You want people to see how cool your app is. All right, so go and grab a couple of screenshots. They need to be 400 pixels by 275. Optionally, and I'd really recommend it, go record a YouTube video of something cool happening in your app. Only takes a couple of minutes, maybe 30 to 90 seconds. Don't put a 10-minute video up. One of the companies I was working with put a 10-minute video up. I'd be willing to bet nobody has ever watched it, right? Like, are you going to watch a 10-minute video to decide, ooh, should I install this? No. 30 seconds, maybe. And then promotional images. There's a set of guidelines around those, but here's why you want to do them. If somebody at Google sees your app and they think it's really cool, and they want to put it in under the featured apps list so that you end up in that big piece where the Angry Birds is, or maybe down on the side, we need to have those promotional images. So just go put them in. It's not a lot of extra work, takes a couple of minutes. All right. And then a customized header background. And that just allows you to really sort of create a really great experience. All right, now we need to upload it. All right, that's it. Like, once your web app is built, putting it into the Chrome Web Store, maybe 15 minutes worth of work. In fact, you guys probably all could have put an app into the web store in the time that it's taken me to walk you through all this stuff. Okay, so zip the manifest and 2 icons together. Done. Upload it to the developer dashboard. That's it. Now we need to go and add the additional images. So those screenshots that I talked about, the promotional images, the YouTube video. Pick the category and provide a description. Now, if you've already built a web application and you have a landing page, you've already written the description. A lot of people put in their description like 2 sentences. Use your miles to track how far you can go. That's seriously one of the descriptions for an app that I've been working with the company to put in. That's useless. You're not going to go and use that, right? Like, get people excited about it. So pick a category and provide that great description. Go grab that description from your web page and just paste it right on in. Just paste. Don't bother writing something new. Just use whatever you already have. Choose a price or use a freemium model. Now, unfortunately, we don't have purchasing available right now here in Mexico. I wish I had something more to say than that. The only way that you guys can sell through the Chrome Web Store is if you have a US bank account. So if you have a US bank account or if you've got headquarters or an office in the US, you can go and use that. What I would recommend, though, is that you use the freemium model, right? Because people really get excited about, hey, I want to go try this app and then decide if it's worth paying for. How many of you are going to pay $3 for an app that you've never used? Right? Probably not a lot. How many of you would say, oh, well, I'll try it out, use it for 30, 60, or 90 days, and then if it's worth it, I might pay 99 cents or $2.99, right? Yeah, a lot more people are willing to try applications out on a freemium model. Or maybe that means that, hey, you start with one thing, but if you want the cool stuff, you got to pay a little bit of money for that. And in fact, there's a company who I'm working with, Angry Birds is planning on doing that. So Angry Birds is going to sell, how many people play Angry Birds? Okay, so I'm in the minority. I've played it for all of 15 minutes. The Mighty Eagle. Do you guys know what the Mighty Eagle is? Yeah, no? Okay. So they're going to sell the Mighty Eagle. So you can go buy the Mighty Eagle. I don't know what it means to buy the Mighty Eagle, but you can go buy the Mighty Eagle. So you get that freemium. You can play the game for free, or you can get the Mighty Eagle, whatever that means, and go from there. So you've got the application up and ready to go. Now, the final piece is you want to verify the website and provide any analytics tokens. Right? So you go in and just, if you're using Google Analytics or anything like that, go in and click on through to that. And then you just click publish. And you're up within a couple minutes. So if I pop out of here, and I'm going to have a look at my bookmarks, because I've got... So here it is, right? This is the Chrome Web Store. I can go in, and here's the app. So where I've uploaded the Chrome Web Store, I can click on Edit. It's not happy with me because I've used the name Google in the app. If you try and use a brand name or a trademark or anything like that, it will get a little upset at you. There's where I upload my icons. I use the default background image. I can upload screenshots. Choose the countries that it's available in. So you can actually limit the application to only be available in a certain set of countries. So if you only want your application to be available to users here in Mexico, you can do that. And then publish changes. All right, couple of tricks. Make sure that the registration is super easy. How many of you guys use a and actually don't put your hands up for this because this is a bit of a security poll if you do. How many of you use the same same password for all of the websites and all the web applications you go to, right? I used to, because it was really easy. Like, I didn't have to remember all the passwords that I had. Well, that's tremendously dangerous, because as soon as you get that one password, you can get onto Gmail, you can get onto Facebook, you can get onto all of my stuff. You can get onto my bank, for that matter, right? So that's kind of dangerous. So use something like OpenID that will allow you to connect through either the Google OpenID system or the Facebook or Twitter or something like that. So I don't have to remember multiple passwords. Make it so that the persistence is automatic, so that you automatically save stuff. Use app cache to provide an offline experience. Choose the right set of categories. So make sure that you're going into the right place. The short video, lots of rich screenshots, the detailed description. And then in terms of, there's a bunch of really great documentation here. Again, these slides, I will tweet these slides before I get off stage or once I get off stage, so you can go get access to them. There's a really great What Makes a Great Web App where I go into more detail about those three principles and the anatomy of a great Chrome Web Store experience. I want to leave you with this, all right? And I really challenge you guys to think about this. Aim for a great web app. Let me try that again. Aim for a great experience. And I'm going to even say something more than that. Aim for a kick kick-ass web experience. Everything else will follow. You build a great web app, you'll get lots of users. You build a shitty web app, you won't get any users. So aim for a great experience. Build something cool. Make it pretty. Make it awesome. All right? With that, do I have any minutes for questions? I have like 2 minutes for questions, so I'll open it up for questions. If there are any.
Porfa. ¿Alguien tiene preguntas? ¿Nadie? Ok. Muchas gracias.
Sweet. Thanks, guys. Thanks for a fantastic day. I'll be hanging out. More than happy to talk with you guys. If you have great web applications that you want to get into the Chrome Web Store, come talk to me because I'd love to help you get in. In fact, we can even do it in the next 15 minutes. So thanks, guys.